YouTube, what's going on, man? We blessed to make it through another week. It's halfway through the week, which means today is...
Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
It's Wednesday, aka hump day, aka halfway through the week, which makes this halftime. This is Halftime with Dizzy. I appreciate you tuning into another episode. It's episode number 9, man, and it's gonna be a good one. I promise you. I got a lot to get into, to get off my chest, some apologies maybe to give out, man. But before we get into any of that, please drop a like, comment what your favorite game was this past week, and subscribe if you're new. Share with a friend if you're not.
Don't ask. I said don't ask. I said don't ask. No questions. Just give the money.
Let's get right into the game plan for this episode, man. Like I said, a lot to get into. Of course, the halftime headlines, where we're going to talk about Russell Wilson's debut as a Steeler. We're going to talk about a couple of trades that went down in the AFC East. And we're going to talk about the MVP race in the NFL. Of course, we're going to talk about who is different this past weekend. We're going to get into some predictions. And, of course, the halftime speech to cap it all off, man. Like I said, make sure you drop a like. Comment what your favorite game was this past weekend. Subscribe if you're new. Share with a friend if you're not. And let's get right into the headlines. So if you've been keeping up with this channel, man, you know that there's somebody that I've been talking about that after this weekend, I might owe an apology to. That's Russell Wilson, man, quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, making his debut after Justin Fields led the team to a 4-2 record to start the year off, man. He went out there, a lot of controversy, a lot of people wondering, should they stick with Fields? Should they go ahead and start Russ? Experiment a little bit what's going on. I was one that said you stick with Fields, don't mess up his rhythm and the flow that he's got going on. But no one, including myself, expected Russell Wilson to do the things that he did this past weekend, man. 16 of 29, 264 pass yards and 2 touchdowns in the Steelers' 37 of 15 win over the New York Jets, who had just acquired Devontae Adams, which we're going to get into right after this, man. And just a couple of things that were noted from this past weekend. This was the most passing yards by a Steelers quarterback in his debut since the 50s. So, again, a great game by Russ, man. Just some things that I noticed from watching this game is that you could tell that the offense all along from the jump, even when Fields was a quarterback, it was built for Russ. It was built for Russ, and it was built to do 3 things, 2 of which I think Fields did pretty decent at, but it's the third thing that Fields wasn't great at, and that's why they decided to move on and go to Russell Wilson. Those three things were, well, first of all, we're going to get downhill. We're going to run the ball with Najee Harris, with Jalen Warren. And I think Justin Fields did a great job of adding to that with the way that he could run the ball. But also, that set up the play-action pass. The play-action pass to get to Darnell Washington, the Pat Freiermuth, your big tight ends, which Russell Wilson did a lot this past weekend. And Justin Fields wasn't bad at doing that either, but it's the third thing that you saw from this offense this past weekend that you noticed you didn't see much, if at all, from Justin Fields while he was running this offense, and that was the explosives, pushing the ball down the field, man, which Russell Wilson did way more in this past weekend than Justin Fields had done in the first 6 weeks of the season, man. And the reason why that's important is because you have a franchise receiver. You have a superstar receiver, at least you think you do, in NFL Youngboy, a.k.a. George Pickens. He's a dog, man. And this was only Pickens' second game with over 7 targets and 100 receiving yards. And that's something that needs to be consistent if you have a receiver that you think is a star in this league. And so, you know, I say all that to say, all right, I'll back off a little bit. I'm going to stop acting like I know better or know more than the Hall of Fame coach that is Mike Tomlin, man. We're going to see how this Steelers thing shapes out. I do still think that Justin Fields could be the quarterback 1 for this team, but I can't ignore what Russell Wilson did this past weekend, man. And it's as simple as this. He had to, because if he would have went out there and wet the bed, then it would have made the Steelers look bad. It would have made Tomlin look real bad. But right now, Tomlin looks like a genius, and we'll see how long Russell Wilson can keep this up. If he can keep this up all year long, the Steelers are definitely going to be a Super Bowl contender with that defense, man. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. Moving on to talk about two teams in the AFC that made some big changes this past week, man. The Bills and the Jets both went out and got some big-time receivers to add to their already talented roster. The Jets went and got Davante Adams, which obviously Davante Adams was unhappy in Vegas. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers, he always wants to play with his dog. And so it was a no-brainer. They went and made that move to make, again, an even more talented wide receiver room. The Bills, you can tell there was a little bit of a void there now that Stephon Diggs isn't there. Even though they've been playing well, they still needed a playmaker at the wide receiver position. And so they go out and they get Amari Cooper. So the question that rose from all of this was, which trade was more impactful? Which trade is going to become more meaningful to their team, to the program, to the franchise? Is it going to be Davante going to the Jets, or is it going to be the Bills going out and getting Amari Cooper? And in my opinion, it's the Bills going out and getting Amari Cooper. And it's because, again, like I said, they needed a receiver. They've been doing well to start the year. They look like one of the best teams in football, but you can just tell they need that deep threat. They need that guy that if it's third and whatever, or if defense bring an all-out blitz, Josh Allen got to get the ball out quick. They need a guy they can just throw the ball up to, that you know is going to be open, that you know is going to go make a play, and that is definitely Amari Cooper. But one reason that I really like this is just because Amari Cooper is a guy that's going to fit the mold of this team. And here's what I mean. Josh Allen said this at the beginning of the year after starting 3-0.
Fun and wonderful thing when you got a bunch of guys that don't care about the stats, they don't care about the touchdowns. And again, I think throughout practice, we've just had this mindset of like, hey, let's just do things the right way and find ways to win football games. That's what we're doing right now.
Now, Josh Allen came out afterwards and kind of cleared it up because everyone took that as a jab at Stephon Diggs. But I find it important when talking about this trade just because Amari Cooper is a guy that, at least that I know of, hasn't been in the headlines, in the media, talking crazy. Oh, I need my touches, I need my catches, oh, the quarterback this, oh, the team that, the scheme this, that. He's not that diva that of a Stephon Diggs or even a Davante Adams that the Bills could have went out and got. There were reports that the Bills were talking about going and getting Davante Adams, but instead they go and get Amari Cooper. Now, of course, in terms of the talent perspective, you probably would take Davante over Amari Cooper, and there was some financial reasons why they didn't make that trade. But if you look at the differences in personality, Amari Cooper definitely fits the Bills mold more than Davante Adams, and is going to give you near the same amount of production, man. And the culture in Buffalo is simply this: go in, go to work, win however you got to win, whether that's we run the ball all day or we throw the ball 70 times. We're going to win however the hell we need to get the win. And I think Amari Cooper fits that, especially, and will definitely be down for that because he's never been somewhere where he could actually contend for a Super Bowl. He was in Vegas, or I think back then they were Oakland, weren't very good. Goes to Dallas. Obviously, you know what's up with them. They're going to go to the first round of playoffs, get bounced. Now he was in Cleveland, which is football purgatory, and didn't do much there, obviously. And so now he's in Buffalo where he has a real shot at contending for a Super Bowl. So I think this is going to be much more impactful than the Jets trade. And here's why I'm going to say that, man, when I shift over to looking at the Jets. It's crazy because I told y'all last week that if the trade did happen, that they still wouldn't win. Even with as talented as his roster is, even with the Hall of Fame quarterback, even if you go out and get Davante Adams, this team probably still won't win. I said that right before the trade happened, and it's crazy because what the Jets need is they don't need another Davante Adams. What they need is a culture. What they need is an identity, which is also something that I said last week. No culture over there with the New York Jets. Unless you have Antonio Pierce on your staff who's going to instantly bring culture as an interim head coach, I doubt you're going to all of a sudden have a culture and identity now that you fired your head coach. And you know what teams with no culture and no identity don't usually do? They don't usually win games. They don't usually win Super Bowls. So, but when you move all that to the side, here's really why I don't feel this trade is going to be meaningful or impactful And it's a reason that not a lot of people have talked about, which at least I haven't heard a lot of people talk about. And it's the fact that we've seen this before. This Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams duo with a good team around them, we've seen it before. And everyone's hyping up this trade and wanted this trade to happen. And oh my goodness, the Jets might be this, the Jets might be that. They're not going to do anything because this was the same situation in Green Bay. And they didn't do anything. I want to ask you, how many Super Bowls do Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams have together? How many Super Bowl appearances do Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams have together? I'll give you a minute. Go ahead. You can type it out in the comments. Let me get a drink of water real quick. The answer is 0. They have 0 Super Bowl appearances, 0 Super Bowl wins. So everyone's hyped up about this trade and about this situation. But we've seen this situation already before. And if you don't believe me, I will show you right now. Let's see. Let's take a look at the 2020 Green Bay Packers, who had 4 All-Pros and 7 Pro Bowlers. Quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Running back, Aaron Jones. Wide receivers, Devontae Adams, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and Alan Lazard. Tight ends, Mercedes Lewis and Robert Tonyan. Left tackle, David Bakhtiari. Left guard, Eldon Jenkins. Center, Corey Linsley. Right guard, Lucas Patrick. Right tackle, Billy Turner. Their edge rushers, Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith. Their D tackle, Kenny Clark. Linebackers, Chris Barnes and Christian Kirksey. Corners were Jair Alexander and Kevin King, and their safeties were Adrian Amos and Darnell Savage. This team went 13-3, lost to Tampa in the playoffs. Now let's compare that to today's New York Jets. Quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Running back, Breece Hall. Wide receivers, Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, and Alan Lazard. Tight end, Tyler Conklin. Left tackle, Tyron Smith. Left guard, John Simpson. Center, Joe Tippmann. Right guard, Elijah Vera Tucker. Right tackle, Morgan Moses. Edges, Hassan Reddick, who just finally ended his holdout, and Will McDonald. D tackle, Quinnen Williams. Linebacker, Quincy Williams and CJ Mosley. Corners, Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed. Safeties, Ashton Davis and Tony Adams. Tell me what the difference is. In terms of talent and on both sides of the ball, tell me what the difference is. There's no difference. I'll save you the time. I'll save you the trouble. There's no difference. I'll tell you where there is a difference, actually, as a matter of fact. The difference is Aaron Rodgers is now 40 years old and coming off an Achilles tear. And also, back then in 2020, the guy and the team that the Packers had to go through and stood in their way was Jimmy Garoppolo and the San Francisco 49ers. Now, today, who stands in Aaron Rodgers' way? Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. And you can probably throw more teams in the mix, but those are definitely 4 teams that you're going to have to beat or be better than if you want to get to the Super Bowl. So, again, I don't see this trade being very meaningful and being very impactful, and it's because we've seen it before. And until they show me that they have true potential, true talent, and a culture that they can rely on, this team's not going far, man. Let me know what you think in the comments about this trade. And if you agree or disagree, let me know, man. We'll talk about it. Let's move on to the MVP race of the NFL. These are the 3 guys that I feel are the front runners, man. I'm going to let you know why. Number 1, Lamar Jackson. When we look at this man, obviously, just like we always say, there ain't many on the planet that can do the things that he can do in terms of throwing the ball and running the ball. He's a front runner in my eyes. He's top 10 in pass yards and top 15 in rushing yards. And I'm not just talking about quarterbacks that run the ball. I'm talking running backs too. Everyone that runs the ball, he is top 15 in rush yards. He has the Ravens in a really good spot, a good record, looking really good, and being the true Lamar Jackson that we knew he could be coming out of Louisville, man. I got him as the front runner. Number 2, I got Jared Goff, man. Currently a top 10 passer with 1,610 passing yards, 10 touchdowns to only 4 interceptions. And the Lions are rolling right now, man. They just knocked off the Vikings, who were perceived as the best or the second best, wherever you have them, team in football. And it's not just about Jared Goff's performances. It's about his leadership as well. He's got these dudes absolutely rolling. And they look like the best team in the NFC right now. And it's because of Jared Goff and what he brings to the table. So I got him in second place right now for the MVP race. And third, even though he was on the losing side that I just mentioned, I got Justin Jefferson, man. I look at this situation as the same as Tyreek and Tua. I think it was last year where Tyreek was on track for 2,000 yards and Tua was balling too. And so everyone was kind of like, well, is it the quarterback? Is it the receiver? And we realized, well, Tua wasn't balling like this before Tyreek Hill. So we're going to say Tyreek Hill is the more valuable player. And I think this is the same instance. Sam Darnold's doing well, but we've never seen this Sam Darnold before. And I think that it's a real testament to Justin Jefferson because he's put up these numbers and he's had these performances no matter who his quarterback has been. He's currently top 5 in receiving yard and has not had a game with less than 80 yards since week 1. I got him in the MVP race, man, because the Vikings are looking really good. Obviously, their whole team is really good, but I think it starts with Justin Jefferson. Those are my 3 horses in the MVP race right now. It could change in a few weeks. Don't get on me right now. But Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff, Justin Jefferson. Let me know what you think in the comments, man, and let's get into He's Diffy.
Ball to the play. Touchdown.
You have to be kidding me. That is impossible. That is absolutely impossible what he just did. That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
It's in the conversation.
What?
Throws.
Oh, what an interception! Oh my gosh!
Gino's got the football. They hand off to Tavon. He stutter steps. He cuts by a defender. He takes it across the field at the 35. He's got a wall of blockers. Tavon Austin at the 40. He's at the midfield. He's up the near sideline at the 35. Stutter steps 30, 25. Finally gets pushed out of bounds.
Wide open man. A flick into the end zone by Jerome Simpson. Oh, goodness.
You know what time it is, man. He's Diffy. Let me tell you about the guys who are flat out different this past weekend, man, and have been different. And I'm going to give you a warning right now. It's all running backs, man, because running backs this past weekend were balling. But surprisingly, there's no Ashton Genty, man. Virginia Tech's Bhayshul Tuten. I don't know if I'm saying that right, man, but either way, he balled. Like I said, running back for Virginia Tech, he had 18 carries, 286 total yards, and 4 total touchdowns in their 41-21 win over Boston College. They said he broke a single game record, for Virginia Tech in terms of rushing yards. Absolutely different, man. He balled. Every time he touched the ball, he was moving forward, getting positive yards if he wasn't scoring. So shout out to him, man. Saquon Barkley is next on the list, man. Running back for the Eagles, of course. 17 carries, 176 yards, and a touchdown in a revenge game win over the Giants, man. Simply showing New York, this is what you're missing out on, man. Not that Saquon Barkley would have the Giants looking so much better right now, but he would definitely be a big help and a big upgrade and a big improvement from what they currently have. And all they can do is say, damn, we messed up. So shout out to Saquon Barkley, who balled out once again, man. Third on the list, I was just scrolling through Max Press because I was like, I haven't talked a lot of high school ball. So let me see what some of the young guys are doing, man. Grady Kinsey, a running back from Indian Valley High School in Ohio. This isn't game stats. This is just what he has right now on the season. He currently has 2,255 rushing yards and 31 touchdowns on 169 carries through 9 games. That is absolutely ridiculous, man. And like I said, this dude is just a high schooler. I believe he's a junior in high school. So, Grady, if you happen to see this and if you want to transfer to a school in Southern California, very nice weather, you let me know because I know a school that could use you right about now. Those are the dudes on this week's edition of He's Diffy, man. Let me know in the comments if you felt anyone else was different, and if you think somebody needs to be on this segment, man, send me some stats, send me some videos, and we'll get them on, man. Let's get into the predictions, man.
One thing.
All right, man, it's time for the predictions, man. I'm kind of gonna buzz through these because, man, I was on my soapbox earlier talking a lot I'm not trying to take too much time, so we just gonna buzz through these real quick, man. First game for college, Oklahoma State going to Baylor. I got Baylor winning this game. They both got the same record, but I think Baylor's played tougher competition and has done better against tougher competition. Give me Baylor to win at home. Number 21, Missouri heading down to Bama, who's ranked 15th, coming off a devastating loss to Tennessee, man. I got Bama winning this game at home. I think they're tired of losing. They're saying we are underachieving right now. Kalen DeBoer is shivering in his boots because he's like, damn, I just succeeded Nick Saban, and this is how I'm starting off. This is not good. So I think they're going to come out and try to make a statement and take it all out on Missouri, man. I got Bama winning this one at home. Number 8, LSU heading down to College Station to take on number 14, Texas A&M. I got Texas A&M with the upset, man. They got the hot hand right now. LSU's been kind of up and down. They're high ranked right now, but I think that's more because other people have been losing. I'm going to take Texas A&M to win this game at home, man. Let's move on to the NFL. Buffalo Bills heading down to Seattle, who's coming off a good win over a good team. But I'm going to take Buffalo to win this game. DK Metcalf, we don't know what's going on with his injury, if he's going to be healthy to play. I think that's going to be huge for Geno Smith, who's been balling and who leads the league in pass yards currently. But I'm going to take Buffalo to win this game, man, on the road. Next up, the Bears heading down to the nation's capital to take on the Washington Commanders, man. I'm going to take the Commanders to win this game. Now, we don't know the condition of Jaden Daniels and if he'll play. Reports are saying the injury isn't too severe. I think it was a rib injury. But either way, Marcus Mariota didn't look too bad. This is a good team. You know, Jaden Daniels obviously has elevated this team, but this team is looking good, and I think they'll be good enough to beat the Bears whether Daniels play or they go to Marcus Mariota. Give me the Commanders at home. And of course, the game that's going to be watched by everyone just so we can see some people, some grown men and women cry, man, because the Cowboys are going to head down to San Fran to take on the Niners, man. The weekends just aren't the same when you don't have Cowboy fans to pick on. And Cowboys had a bye this past weekend, and it just wasn't the same. But we're back on track this weekend because the Niners are definitely going to beat the Cowboys. Even though they're banged up a little bit, Cowboys are banged up too, and they're not as talented as the Niners. I'm going to take the Niners to win this game at home. Those are my predictions for this week. Let me know a game that you're watching closely, man. Let me know if you agree, disagree with my picks. And let's get to the halftime speech.
The Cinderella story is over, man. Right? They're fighting for clicks, we're fighting for wins. There's a difference. Right? There's a difference.
I'm hurt, dog. Don't ask me if I'm all right. Hell no. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it. I'm putting my heart in this dog. Let's go, man. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
We'll just look inside your heart and find out who you really are. Make sure you look at your teammate today and you come out and you give pure hell today. This team ain't ready for us. Let's prove that they ain't ready for us.
Oh, get in here. Let's go. Get in here right now. Get in here. Hey, we got 30 minutes for the rest of our lives. 30 minutes for the rest of our lives.
Halftime speech, man, you already know what this is. It's just a little motivation to help you get through the rest of your day, week, month, whatever it is, wherever you are watching this video. A halftime speech from a coach is something to help his team get through the rest of the game, and that's what this is from me to you, man. And all I'm going to say, man, is appreciate the hardships. Appreciate the hardships because God's not going to put us through anything that we can't handle. And when God puts us through things, it's it is always to teach us something. It's so that we can walk away from it saying, that's what I learned. I'm stronger because of it. I learned this. I'm better off because of that. And there's always light at the end of the tunnel, man. We just have to continue pushing to see it through. You know, we often ask for things. We often pray for things. And in return, God doesn't just give it to us directly. He puts us in situations so that we can fight and earn it. And so that it's just more valuable and meaningful for us. So don't get discouraged when you get in those hardships. Embrace it. Embrace the hardships. And, you know, like I said, you'll become stronger. You'll become better because of it, man. I'm rooting for you. I'm going to continue to push through anything and everything that I got to go through to get to where I want to be, man. And I hope you do the same. I appreciate you all for tuning in and watching. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe if you're new, share with a friend if you're not, and just stay tuned. I have another video for you real soon.